Good morning, welcome to the episode of HardFoul Radio. This is the show that values time and puts God first. Appreciate y'all for joining me for another episode. So, I have two takes. A, we're about to hit the start of NFL season. People are going to be giving you their breakdowns, division breakdowns. We're no different here. And so I'm going to be giving you a take on the team that I think is set up to be way better than most people expect, even though I think there's high expectations. But the first take, because we're in full swing of MLB season, I hate this take, but I genuinely think it's correct. Paul Skenes is the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. It's him or Tariq, right? Tariq Schoolboy, the ace of the Tigers. And Paul just feels a little more phenom. He feels bigger. The stuff is crazy. He's like, everything about him feels like Major League Baseball superstar. And he is. Started the All-Star game. He's amazing. What more can he say about him? The Pittsburgh Pirates are going nowhere and going nowhere fast. And it doesn't even feel like there is a potential that this is going to get fixed in the long run. And trust me, if you know anything about me, I am not the guy that likes to say trade star player from quote-unquote lesser franchise, let him go somewhere else. I hate that opinion. I hate that take. I hate it for the fans. I don't like it for the sport. I do not wish that these kind of generational talents like a Paul Skenes, I don't like the feeling that they are forced to one day go to a big market team in their sport, whether it's a Yankees, Red Sox, go to the NBA, a Lakers, Celtics. I hate that. The difference, I think, with the Pirates are there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Right? There's no, oh, well, this is going to be fixed. It's not coming through their farm system. It's not coming through, obviously, their current major league team. And ownership is cheap and stingy in a sport that just does not reward cheap and stingy. Look, there's a difference if you have certain stipulations that prevent you from putting out the most competitive team that you can in a salary cap league. When you're in Major League Baseball, and I'm someone who does, yes, I would love a salary cap Major League Baseball, but the reality is until we get that, these owners are just cheap. Because these owners are all extremely wealthy. These owners could all put more into their team if they really wanted to. The Pirates have shown no signs of that. So if you're not going to invest in this team long term, you're not going to invest in this player long term because he's going to demand one of those $500, $600, $700 million contracts, even as a pitcher. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? You might as well trade him because this isn't, I've been screaming for Tampa Bay all season. What's the most motivating thing if you are a Tampa Bay Rays fan, a notoriously cheap owner and a franchise that has never really spent all the money? They've spent it big time on two guys in their history. And first one was Evan Longoria. Second one, we don't even use his name anymore because that's how nasty of a human he is. So you go, but they've been so notoriously cheap, but still competitive because they found other ways, even without having big payroll, to put out a team that has gone to a World Series this decade, has gone to the World Series twice in the last 20 plus years, has had competitive teams, 90 plus wins multiple times, because they put it in their scouting department and their marketing, and they've done all these innovative things, so much so that a lot of these new rules in baseball, the way they have this shift in defensive alignments, that's because they didn't like what Tampa was doing because other teams with money and star players also did this. But Tampa now, Major League Baseball is trying to get their owner out of here because they don't love the fact that he's cheap. And they're like, hey, you're now just making a profit due to revenue sharing. We don't want you to be a part of this. So they're trying to get him out of here. This same line of logic should be applied to the Pittsburgh Pirates because they're not going to start spending money out of nowhere. And you've got Skenes, and then you have O'Neal Cruz. Like, you have some blue chip guys. And Skenes is on a different level even than Cruz. And I love Cruz. I think O'Neal Cruz has all the talent in the world. But Paul Skenes is different. So if we're just not going to support him, we're not going to put ownership is not going to put the pieces around him. They're not going to spend the money. What are we doing here? Ask ourselves, what are we doing here? And I hate this take. Again, I hate this. I wish for the sports the guy who romanticizes sports. I would love a guy to be drafted by a team, a generational prospect or not, but become an all-star, become an all-NBA guy, and play with that team his entire career. I think that stuff's amazing. But if we're not going to ever commit to the team the way that ownership should, why should he have to suffer his whole career? Why should he have to be in a position where, oh, this is never going to be successful here in Pittsburgh? That's not fair to the fans. That's not fair to the player. Who wins because we force Paul Skenes to stay in Pittsburgh? And again, I don't think he's going to be forced to stay there. I don't think they're going to pay the obnoxiously long contract and expensive contract they're going to have to pay him. So if I'm him, again, he's 4-8 with a 2 ERA, guys. Like, come on now. We know how great he is. My next moving into the NFL. And now listen, when you have a great player in your franchise, specifically a great quarterback, or a great quarterback in your division, eventually it just starts to gnaw on you as a fan. If you are in the AFC East and you went through 20 years of hell with Tom Brady, and now you're going through a decade of hell with Josh Allen, where you just know in your heart of hearts, yeah, we have a good team. Miami 2 years ago when they led the NFL in all these offensive categories, and Tua and Tyreek, but you just know that's the best team in the division. That's the best player in the division. It's really hard to get over that. Peyton Manning did this to the AFC South for years. Aaron Rodgers, the NFC North. You know when you've got this boogeyman in your division. Patrick Mahomes has been the boogeyman to the AFC West for a decade now. Right? Pretty much a decade. So everybody has had all these different takes and ideas about, oh, this team, it's time they're going to pass up Mahomes. Ooh, this team's going to pass Mahomes. And from the fan bases, some of this is cope because we've been pushed down because of this all-time great anomaly of a player. I think that's finally going to change, even though the premise I just set means I'm just going to start giving you some cope and opinions and not really facts. But let me tell you why I think for the first time in his career, Patrick Mahomes is not going to win the AFC West. And a legitimate reason, not just, oh, well, I like this team. And I do like this team, but not just, oh, I like this team and that's why they're going to be. No. Let me give you an actual reason and breakdown. So we all know quarterback is polarizing in terms of if you are better at quarterback than the other team, that is a bigger deal than you being better at offensive line or you being better at running back. They just have a disproportionate outcome on the game. But does that stand if everything else the other team does is better? Hear me out. The Denver Broncos are going to start this season in the running back room better than Kansas City. Again, let's just go down position by position. Quarterback, we know. Chiefs, Mahomes, boom, he's got it. He's way better than Bo Nix. Cool. Running backs, Denver is better. They just drafted R.J. Harvey. J.K. Dobbins is in there. And that is, a lot of this too is neither have great running back rooms, but Denver's just slightly better. Receiving core. Cortland Sutton's the best receiver out of all of these guys. Mims is a 2-time All-Pro. I know that's ever a returner, but he came on as a guy in the passing game at the end of last season. And the Chiefs have now a partial season from Rashee Rice, who's clearly their best receiver, and we'll see what they get from the young guys who are obviously fast, but we'll see. These two guys did not put up great numbers. The Chiefs' young guys did not put up great numbers last year, nor did anyone really on the Chiefs' offense. At tight end, Evan Ingram last year versus Travis Kelce last year and the direction they're going. Ingram gets a rejuvenated offense with Sean Payton, who's going to be in this Joker role, versus Travis Kelce, who we saw the decline. Travis Kelce's obviously the better player all time, but Ingram, what he has done the last couple of seasons, is just better than Kelce as things currently stand. And again, if we want to just merge receivers and tight ends and say weapons, Denver has better weapons than Kansas City. Offensive line, it's not close. It's just not close. Denver has the only two teams I'm willing to even hear have a as good or better offensive line than Denver is Detroit and Philadelphia. And even then, I'd be willing to argue those two. Go look at Denver's offensive line. It is clearly better than Kansas City, who took the riskiest, project offensive lineman in the draft due to injury, signed Trent Williams backup. Like, these are, if it was any other team and we didn't just inherently believe that Brett Veach and Andy Reid were just masterminds, and really just Brett Veach, because Andy Reid historically does not like to be a part of player personnel. These are reaches if it was anybody else. We give him the benefit of the doubt because he's been such a great GM throughout his career, but these are reaches for anybody or any team. Pass rushers, it's Denver. It's not close. Denver just came off leading the NFL in sacks last year. Linebackers, again, Dre Greenlaw, who's now on Denver, who, again, this defensively as a whole, Denver's just better. Denver's going to be one of the top 3 defenses in the league, and the Chiefs' best players aren't better than where Denver's best at. Trent McDuffie is the best player on Kansas City's defense. He's not better than Patrick Surtain, who's the reigning defensive player of the year, the best corner in football. Dre Greenlaw is just as good, in my opinion, as Nick Bolton. I think Dre Greenlaw got in a better contract. Nick Bonito, him and Karlaftis, I know, who just got paid, who Kansas City fans love, and they should. He's a great player. Bonito, same draft class. He's a half a sack behind, but is coming off a 13.5 sack season, peaking higher than at any point Karlaftis has. And let's be honest, and again, I understand this does count, but let's be honest, if we didn't have playoff moments from Karlaftis, we really wouldn't know who he is. Just, again, he's got 1.5 sacks more, but he's by far better. And the one that Kansas City fans who are screaming at me right now is, well, they have Chris Jones. Go compare Chris Jones and Zach Allen. Go do it. The last 2 seasons of Chris Jones and Zach Allen. Go compare it. Chris Jones, again, this is the same thing as the Kelsey debate, whereas, yes, historically, Chris Jones is a Hall of Famer. I'm not comparing his career versus Zach Allen. I'm talking about right now. Go compare Travis Kelsey, Evan Ingram. I'm not talking about careers. Travis Kelsey is obviously a Hall of Famer. Let's compare right now. Denver's better in the secondary, better on linebackers, better on defensive line. As defense as a whole, they have the better offensive line. They are better in so many other categories. This is the year, and again, the boogeyman is real. Kansas City should start, they are, as betting favorites, should be the consensus pick to win the division. But here's the thing, Chiefs fans, and I'm specifically talking at the most notable Chiefs fan in sports media, Nick Wright. The next stage of Mahomes' career, and we're going to talk about this more tomorrow, is can you do this? Can you continue to do this in version 2? When you don't have Reid at his peak with all these fancy plays and offense that was advanced, when you don't have Chris Jones in the prime of his career, when you don't have Travis Kelce in the prime of his career, can version 2 of you really be this great?